The problem with the metadata van, first of all, it is expensive. Cost to buy, cost to maintain. I need a bigger garage to hold it. I have to pay more rent for the garage. Correct. And it's painful to drive on Bangalore roads. Regularly, if you ask me to go to office in metadata, I will not go to office. No? So for once in a year, what you want to do, if you say you will incur that expense every time, is not worth it. Instead of that, why don't you say every year you want that day you want a metadata, go and hire one. I know you'll pay a little more price for it at that time, but it is still worth it. See, day-to-day use, you should use a vehicle which you are likely to most comfortably use, So since we're going to be making millions of these calls or thousands of these calls, we don't want that extra parameter to be added as part of every one of these calls. Since anyway, the other case of the file position suddenly shifting from place to place is likely to happen only very less number of times in life. We find occasionally only programs want to do this. So why don't we do one thing? We will not provide this as a parameter at all to read and write. Instead, since anyway, this file position is respect to a data transfer. Remember, each data transfer is always with respect to an open instantiation. It's not just path name. It is reference to the open instantiation. Of course, this itself is going to be one parameter, and you can specify that. Open instantiation must be a parameter to the read and write system calls because we want to allow a process to be able to do data transfer from multiple files concurrently. This is, of course, the row number of the file table is also what we call the file descriptor, right? Also called the key or the handler. So that is going to be one parameter. So with respect to the open instantiation, anyway, each open instantiation will assume that he's going to always read from beginning to end because that's what he does anyway most of the time. So why don't we maintain this file position inside this open instantiation itself as part of that file table row? See, when you say read n bytes, if you're saying read n bytes, I don't like to write it that way. Why don't you just say, you can't say read n bytes. Sorry, that is not the correct way of saying it. Why don't you always say read next n bytes? All you have to make is that statement saying every time you say read, you don't just read n number of bytes, you always read next n bytes or write next n bytes. That is what it is. When you say next n bytes, obviously you don't have to specify the position because always the next position. So initially, I suppose when you open the file position is on the byte number 0 of the file. You say read 10 bytes, will be read first 10 bytes. Now you say read 4 bytes, will be read next 4 bytes. Read next 4 bytes, next 1 million bytes, next 2 bytes, next 1 byte. He's always going to be read next or write next. That means this position itself needs to be fixed or maintained for each of the open instantiations. Of course, if you open the same path name twice, you got 2 rows on the file table, you got 2 open instantiations. On one, you could be reading on page number 52, 53, 54. On the other, you could be reading on 22, 23, 24. That is perfectly possible. That means for each one of the open instantiations, we would like to assume that the read or write system calls do always transfer the next to so many bytes in the file. So that reduces automatically. You knock off that as a parameter. So file position is not a parameter to the read and write system calls. I've seen lot of programmers writing lots of programs. They don't even bother about this file position. How do you read a book? Oh, I just open it and read from page 1 to page 100. He does not even know there is such a thing called a file position. People are not even aware of it, See, that's why we don't want to waste one additional parameter. If you tell him, no, you have to say, now read page number 1, let's say read page number 2, read page number 3. If he has to say that, he will get confused. He says, no, I always never do that. I always say read next page. Obviously, first time, next page is the first page, He says read next page, read next page, read next page. Some people don't even bother about the page number which is given as part of the books. Correct? So, why waste one parameter when it is not going to be used frequently in any case? So, that is the bottom line. So, we would like to avoid that as a parameter. Of course, for the occasional freak who wants to suddenly skip to the end of the book to find out who is the murderer, or to skip a couple of pages of the sunset description, or you read one interesting fight or interesting scene, whatever is interesting to you, I don't know. Maybe fight may not be interesting, some others scene may be interesting for you people. When you read one interesting scene and find out, let me just go back and read it again. So just skip backwards and read the same thing again a couple of times. We do that, right? I mean, I suppose we do that all the time. So I'm just trying to put that into words and see where we can learn some morals from that stuff which we keep doing every day in day-to-day life. And in fact, all these are plainly logical stuff. There is nothing new that we are trying to invent. There is no science here. This is only technology. Technology is not science. We are not trying to discover something new here. It's all known stuff. We keep doing that every day when we go to office, when we go home, when we sleep, when we get up, when we dream, whatever we are doing as part of the day-to-day life. I'd like to borrow analogies from there and say, can we look at that and see how we can make our programs more professional? Initially they will start. One fellow can go faster, other fellow can go slower. Or we have the occasional case of, you can even move this, of course. Any position can be changed at some point of time. That we will see later. That is a special case. See, we want to take care of any eventuality. See, what you do is, expect the worst. Okay? See, this is the principle in life, right? Expect the worst always. You should always expect the worst. Right? But then, hope for the best. See, that is also there, right? Hope for the best. It's always hope for the best. But then you are prepared for the worst. So we're saying we are hoping that the process says you'll always read from beginning to end. So you get a very efficient way of reading because Y position is not a parameter at all. But then we do expect occasionally the idiot wants to suddenly go and read some X number page. That we will see. That can be slower also. What I'm saying is that could be a bit slower. I may need 1 hour to go and hire the metador and come back. Correct? It's alright. But I don't want that as a regular day-to-day. I don't want that way. I don't want to drive that vehicle because that is expensive. Driving everything is difficult there, right? So that we'll see as a separate case. We got a separate system call for doing that. LC is going to do that for us. We'll come to that next. The exceptional situations. But regular course of events, we are saying that let's hope that the fellow, let us hope for the best. Always transfers in consecutive bytes from beginning of the file to the end of the file. That way, would like to reduce or keep the number of parameters the read system call minimal. Okay. In fact, we could have even knocked off the number of bytes. COBOL decided to do that. But then we find that functionality that you lose by saying for each, supposing you say I want to read in multiples of some other kind of bytes, then you'll have to have one more open instantiation. That functionality that you lose is not worth this saving that you're doing. See, everything has got a price, right? It's not worth that. That is why, that's why I'm saying that, we'd like to have that as a parameter. Even the data address is the same in the process data space. It's not worth saying that, see, at open time we could have specified this, I'm sure of that, right? Both of these could have been parameters to the open system call. Let me just make that very clear. See, open, we had a path name, permissions and mode or whatever, or the three parameters. We could very easily add 2 more. If you want COBOL-like C language, very simple. Just add 2 more parameters. One is the first byte, address of the first byte in the data space, where all the read and write operations will take place. The second is the number of bytes is always the same number of bytes which is going to be transferred for each read and write system calls. Just add that. Then the read and write system calls will not have these two as parameters at all. The question is, see, this has got to be specified sometime. Are you going to specify it at open time, or are you going to specify it each read and write time? Is the question. See, basically C as a language, originally, C for commercial programming definitely is preferable to transfer these two parameters back to the open instantiation, because most of the commercial applications is reading an inventory record. Inventory record size doesn't suddenly change within the application. No, it is always fairly same. Correct. So I just think that we should really have another kind of a C, which is called a commercial C, which is more suitable for commercial application. That's an idea I just now got, because you can always transfer the parameter back to the open system call.